Welcome to the Therapy Show podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard. In each episode, I interview a seasoned and knowledgeable talk therapist from the counseling world to glean valuable insights, techniques, and tools that you can apply to your practice and your life. And if you're considering a career in the counseling field or just want to hear about what it's like to be a talk therapist, then this is the podcast for you. As talk therapists, we all need continuing education contact hours to remain in good standing with our licensing boards. Every 2 years here in South Carolina, I need 40 hours of CEUs. And my guess is that you need something similar. Over the years, I have attended many workshops, conferences, seminars, webinars, etc. And honestly, they aren't always the most convenient nor inspiring. So that's why I've created continuing education pod courses. Let me take a minute to explain how they work. First of all, what's a pod course? Good question, right? A pod course is the word I use to describe podcast plus self-study course. Each pod course counts for one continuing education contact hour. All pod courses include the podcast, a self-study quiz, evaluation form, and certificate of completion. To buy a pod course, click Buy Pod Course, then scroll down the page to see the learning objectives, presenter's bio, and course outline. Then click Buy Pod Course about halfway down that screen. You will then be asked to enter your payment. Then you'll have access to the podcast, self-study quiz, and evaluation. And then once you pass the quiz, you can download your certificate of completion. My hope is that the pod courses save you your valuable time. No need to sit at your desk and watch. You can listen whenever, wherever you want. However, you don't have to buy the pod course to listen to the podcast and get the clinical information. The podcast is available for you anytime, anywhere. Just head to the tab on my site that says The Therapy Show. If you want to purchase the pod course, then head to the tab that says Pod Courses. But if you want the continuing education contact hour, you will need to purchase the quiz, pass it, and download your certificate of completion. And be sure to hold on to that certificate for your records because your board may want to see it one day. And you can get your first pod course for free. Simply fill out the form on my website and I'll email you over a code that you can then enter into checkout for a free continuing education contact hour. I hope you enjoy the show and happy listening. Okay, today's guest is Kim Tolson. She's a licensed clinical social worker, certified substance abuse counselor, and a certified hypnotherapist. And she's taken her business completely online. Plus, she's created a course for therapists and a hypnotherapy app. Kim knew she wanted to travel more, so she figured out how she could see clients while visiting countries all over the world. And nowadays, she has a thriving online insurance-based therapy practice. Yet she's the first to admit learning to have an online practice and take insurance was a very steep learning curve. Because of this, Kim saw a need to develop a course to help other clinicians learn how to take insurance in their private practice. And on this week's episode, Kim shares tips for getting started with insurance panels, things to consider when looking to be credentialed, and the pros and cons of taking insurance. And we hope you enjoy this episode. So, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Therapy Show. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard, and today's guest is Kim Tolson. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. And once again, you and I connected. I always tell folks how I meet my guests. We connected in a Facebook group, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
I think we were both posting about like extra offerings, like side hustles and that sort of thing. And
yeah, that's right.
I was like, oh my gosh, you're from Richmond. And then we both figured out we went to VCU.
I know, a fellow alumni. Go Rams. That's so cool. And you have your master's degree in social work. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What year did you graduate from VCU?
2005.
Oh, okay. Did you go there for undergrad too?
No, I went to Marshall University.
Okay. So you came back to Richmond and you went to VCU and
yeah.
Cool. Well, I know we connected initially because you have a really cool course for therapists.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about that. So,
okay.
But before we do that, I always like to ask the question, how did you decide to become a talk therapist or social worker?
Oh gosh, it's the classic story. Like grew up in a home where my mom was like chronically depressed and, so I kind of became like parentified a little bit as a kid. So I just naturally fell into like being a listener and a helper and a fixer, and then from there, then realized I was terrible at math. so, I just kind of fell into it naturally. went to college, started taking classes, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's really neat. And I'm horrible at math too. My daughter's always asking for my help. I'm like, no, no, no.
Yeah, yeah.
No. I do the social studies and the history and the ELA. Daddy does math and science. It's just the way it's turned out. I don't mean to be like stereotypical or anything,
Of
but
course,
no,
yeah.
just the
I
way
was
it is.
like, I can't do anything having to do with math, so
Yeah.
this is perfect.
Yeah, I can listen to people and I can help them. And I
Yeah,
find it to be that, there's a theme in all of our lives about being the helper and, you know, realizing early on that it's a gift that we have of empathy and, unconditional positive regard, things that we didn't even know were things, but they turn into a way to make a living. It's pretty cool.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I get to help people. It's
Yeah. So
awesome.
before we talk about your course, I
Okay.
think it'd be really cool if you share what you do now. Like, it's crazy. And I say crazy because you just share with me what you're doing in 2 weeks and I'm just floored. So
Yeah.
let, tell us what you do.
So right now, I'm an online therapist. So I used to have a brick and mortar private practice. And then I guess it's been a year and a half ago now, I took Amber Lida's online course, Step by Step,
Mhm.
that teaches you how to become an online therapist. So since that time, I've left my brick and mortar and I'm all online working. And the dream is to become a digital nomad, basically. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but so that's what we're doing. And in 2 weeks, we're making our first move to Florida.
Wow.
We're going to just be living there for a while. We're going to be working because now that I'm online, I can work from anywhere in the world. So it's been a whirlwind, but it's just so exciting.
That
So
is so cool.
right
I
now
mean,
I'm in crunch time. I've got to sell my place and pack everything and move in like 2 weeks. But
sell your place as in your home, sell your place?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Wow. Like,
I have a condo in Richmond that I live in, but I need to sell it. So,
wow. I mean, I just find that so cool. So you were in brick and mortar, you had an
yep.
office, you had the four walls, and then what changed for you that you decided you wanted to do online?
Well, I travel a lot. So I travel probably 8 weeks out of the year. So
Mhm.
I was taking a week off every other month, basically, and just not seeing my clients during that time and traveling to these places. But then I took Amber's course and I realized, like, gosh, I could go live in these places for a month or 2 months and just see clients and still live there and experience these different places around the world. So that's really what it was. I just love to travel. And, I just hate being like stuck in one place.
Wow. Wow, yeah, I think that's so cool. Where's been your favorite place that you've been so far?
Well, gosh, oh my gosh. We love Punta Cana. I was just down there. I just got back from a trip in Budapest where
Wow,
I was able to work some and see Budapest and Vienna and down through Germany.
that's so cool. So
Yeah,
I know we're here to talk about something else, but I gotta know.
it's
So
okay.
if people wanna learn more about this becoming a online therapist, where would you point them to?
Definitely the online therapist group on Facebook. That's where I got started. I just came across it one day. We were actually in Mexico on a vacation, and I came across the group and I was like, what?
Yeah.
You could be a therapist and work only online. And it just like changed everything. I was so excited. So that's the place to start. The woman that runs it, Amber Lida, is amazing.
Mhm.
She's an inspiration.
Yeah, because I know she's done that too. She herself became completely online, and I know she shares a good bit of her story in that group. I think I'm in that group. I'm in so many groups.
I know, me too. It's like hard to keep up with them all.
So, okay, let's really dive into this topic because it's something that therapists always want to talk about, the pros and cons of health insurance. And you did send me a sheet which I will link to the show notes
Okay,
and they
great.
can check that out. But
Okay.
how did this become your niche? How did this become your specialty?
Well, I'm not an expert by any means. I kind of just had to learn it myself. And then as I learned it, I decided I just wanted to help other therapists be able to do this too. So it's kind of a long story, but I was in my brick and mortar and I had billers and I had them for about 9 years. And basically, I found out that they weren't collecting a lot of my like copays and deductibles. They weren't giving me the right information. So I got a back balance sheet from them and it was $12,000 in back balances that had not been collected. So I was
Wow.
like, oh my gosh. So I
Wow.
totally freaked out. I'm like, I can't believe I've like trusted these people to do this for me. I just had my head in the sand. I was just seeing clients and collecting what they told me to collect. And then, once I saw that, I was like, I've got to learn how to do this on my own,
Mhm.
you know? because I just, I didn't want to trust anybody with my money after that. So I basically decided I was going to see one new client, and just bill it on my own and figure out how to do it. So I did that, but then they found out that I was doing it kind of off contract,
Mm.
and they fired me.
Crazy.
So they fired me within like a
Oh,
week. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? I had like 100 active clients, that I saw, like some every couple of months, some like weekly. But I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to figure this out. So I just taught myself how to
wow.
bill insurance, and then after that, I decided to go all online. So then I had to figure out, how can I still take insurance? Because, I'm totally insurance based in my practice. How can I take insurance, see people online, and still, be able to bill like this? So I had to teach myself then how to like do telehealth billing
Right.
for insurance.
Right.
It's been quite the learning curve, but I've got it now. And then, I had all this information that I found out. I was like, I've got to share this with other people. So I put a course together. So
That's
now
so
the
cool.
course is, it's out there. It's awesome. It's a complete insurance billing course from start to finish. So it's from getting credentialed with the insurance companies to how to bill, to like specialty situations that are really confusing and difficult, how to handle those.
Very
So
cool.
yeah,
It's an online course. How does it work?
it's through Teachable. I don't know if
Okay.
you. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
Mhm.
yeah, it's like an online course platform. So you just log in, and it's got different chapters for each topic.
Okay, and how long is
Um,
the course approximately?
it takes most people probably 6 to 8 hours to read through it. So if you wanted to just read straight through, but it's really like a living document. So it's like, oh, I'll go to the credentialing part, and I'll, do all these tasks in here to get credentialed. Then you have to wait, because credentialing can take anywhere from 60 to 90 days. So, there's waiting periods between each part of it.
Right.
So you go back to it a lot.
Right. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's something that but once you purchase it, you have access to it as long as
Forever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But,
Hmm.
yeah, okay, so take us through it. So first you learn how to get credentialed, and
Hmm.
then where do you go from there?
So you first, you have to sign up on CAQH, which is like this
Mhm.
database that houses all of your personal information for the insurance companies.
Right.
And then you want to decide which insurance companies to get credentialed with. So I do have some free guides to help you through this part that I can give you the links for, but
Okay.
you need to decide if you want to take insurance in your brick and mortar, or if you think you want to be more online like me, because different companies pay for it. Some do, some don't. So there's some strategies that I've kind of put together to help people figure out which insurances to apply to, because you don't want to apply to all of them, especially if you're just going to be telehealth.
Right.
If
Mhm.
you apply to, like, Aetna, for example, does not cover telehealth in the traditional sense right now. They require you to go through a platform, and the platform pays a lot less than like in-office sessions would be. So I wouldn't really recommend anybody go get credentialed with Aetna if you're only going to be online. But if
Right.
you're going to be in office, it's different.
Okay.
So there's just some strategies there, like reaching out to therapists in your area that look like they're doing online therapy, and talking to them about insurances that they take.
Mhm.
So you do the CAQH, then you figure out who you want to get bar, and then you submit the applications. And some of them can be sort of overwhelming for people. So there's sort of some tips and strategies in the course on how to succinctly go through that and get it done.
Mhm.
Once you're credentialed, then the contract comes. So you're going to want to try to negotiate rates in the contracts before you sign, because once you sign, you're locked into these like base rates that they give everybody. So I always recommend, doing that before. Like, try to negotiate up higher if you can.
Okay.
So once you sign the contract, then there's a little bit of a waiting period usually. And then the next step is getting the client in the door. So, there's some strategies for that too, some networking strategies that I kind of put in the course. Once you get clients in the door, then it's a matter of deciding, what billing platform do you want to use? Do you want to use, like, I use Simple Practice,
Mhm.
which is excellent. Now it's just a click of a button and I file a claim just like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's easy now that I know everything about it. So you pick an EHR, a health records platform that you'd like to do your billing on. And
Mhm.
then once you do that, once you get the client in, you get them all set up in the system. It's very simple. You just, click a button, and then the claim is filed.
Nice.
Yeah. But for each insurance, you definitely want to call ahead of time to make sure they cover telehealth. So for each policy and insurance, it could change from person to person. So you do have to call and verify before
Oh,
each client.
I
So I put
gotcha.
that all in the course too, like a guide to doing that. So, and that's basically it. Once you get it, you've got it.
That's really cool. So it sounds like this is a how to get yourself credentialed, how to get yourself on panels, and then how to get some clients in the door. It sounds like a great course. Is
Thank you.
that course on your website so people can go to your
It
website?
is on my website. Yep.
Okay, cool. And so we'll link that for sure.
KimTolson.com.
Okay. That's with a
Hmm.
Y. Kim with a
Yes.
Y. Don't forget.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
No, I remember. I will always remember that. Hey, friend, want to be more comfortable while sitting on the therapy couch? I sure did and went looking for pants and tops that were soft, wrinkle resistant, and would match just about anything I already had in my closet. And now Zaya Active makes up about 80% of my wardrobe. Would you like to learn more? Head over to my site, lisamustard.com, and click on the Activewear tab. And don't think this is just for women. They have men's and kids' clothes too, and our family is loving the quality, and I am loving the price tags. So head over to my site to check it all out. Very cool. So as you think about transitioning to Florida, are you only licensed in Virginia or are you licensed in other states?
I'm only licensed in Virginia.
Okay.
And that's something else the course walks people through is how to figure out if you're allowed to practice outside of your state
Yeah.
online. And most states, you actually can do it as long as the client is physically located in your state that you're licensed in.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're living in Florida, but you are licensed to work with residents of Virginia, and they're in Virginia, you're good to go. More than
Yep.
likely. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you do any international
I
work?
haven't. That's something I've been thinking about, but I haven't really gotten into it yet because my practice is totally full right now.
Mm,
So I'm not trying to, open up new ways for people to come in because I'm just
right.
like booked. But
Yeah. And how did you decide to become a insurance taker versus just going private pay?
I don't know. I actually never thought I could be private pay, I guess. In the beginning, I thought I had to take insurance. So I think it started out that way. I wasn't big on like the marketing stuff either. So I knew with insurance panels that one benefit to it was that they refer to you a lot
Mm,
and people like to use their insurance, you know?
yes,
So,
very
so
true.
if they see on your website, like, oh, I take Anthem,
Mhm.
they're probably more likely to call if they have Anthem insurance. So as far as marketing goes, I think taking insurance really cuts that out.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Yeah. Do you see any negatives or cons to health insurance?
yeah, I've got a list.
Oh, okay, great.
I've got a list of cons and pros
Okay, cool.
if you want.
Yeah, let's look at a couple
Um,
of those.
okay, so if you join the panels, you'll not get paid unless you submit the claims to the insurance company,
Mm,
right? So there is a little bit of a lag there. You have to like private pay, you just get paid right after the session.
mhm,
With taking insurance, there is a lag, anywhere from a week to sometimes 3 weeks, depending on the insurance company. So some people don't like that; they want to get paid immediately.
right.
So that's a con.
Mhm,
So filing claims can take time out of your day. So I've estimated that I probably spend anywhere from 1 to 3 hours a week dealing with insurance stuff. So if it's a week and there's nothing going on, it's like a click of the button that I was telling you about and I'm done with it. But
right.
sometimes, especially at the beginning of the year, like people's policies are changing. So you have to update the information and you got to follow up. You've got to call the insurance company.
Mhm,
So that's where that estimate comes in. So I probably do spend about 1 to 3 hours, and I would tell people to factor that into their work week.
sure. That makes
Maybe just,
sense.
yeah.
Mhm,
So, like I said before, it can take 60 to 120 days to get credentialed with insurance companies. So I tell people if you're thinking about going like brick and mortar and you're not sure about it, or even online, figure out this insurance piece first if you
mhm.
want to take it or not take it. And that picture I sent you actually is part of my email subscription freebie. So if people sign up for it, they'll get that information and they can go through and take a test and decide
Oh,
if
cool.
they think that taking insurance is right for them.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'll give you that information too.
Okay, lots of good stuff on your
Yeah.
website.
Yes. So the other thing is sometimes the insurance payers can be picky about who they allow on their panels.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you might be all ready to go, like, okay, Anthem's the insurance company I want to go with. And then you go apply and they decline you because they're oversaturated in your area. So sometimes that can be a problem for people. I know in Michigan right now, I've talked to a couple clinicians that are having a hard time getting on any panels there.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that could be a problem.
Yeah.
I've got some workarounds in the course for that too. One of them is if you put together sort of like why I'm a great candidate for your insurance company, like credentials and extra trainings and certifications you have, you can send that in with your application, and sometimes that'll give you a boost and they'll let you into the network. So,
Smart. So it's kind of sharing more of your expertise that might give you the
yeah,
leg up for somebody else. I like that. That's good. That's really good. It's a good
yeah,
tip.
it's like, wow, look what a great clinician I am. You really
Yeah.
need me, you know?
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because we hear so much that mental health is just people are needing more and more help and support. So it's interesting that they're saying they don't want to panel more
I know. It really
providers.
does.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
I'm sure there's a reason.
Yeah,
We don't know. We're not privy to
who
that
knows?
side of things, but cool. Do you have the pros of taking
Yeah,
health insurance? Because I know that was on the sheet's great, and we'll definitely, give that to everybody, but
cool. So pros is it gives you access to a large pool of possible clients.
mhm. Mhm.
So I think that's a definite positive. There's a lot of people out there looking for therapy that want to use their insurance,
Yeah.
so that's a positive.
Mhm.
And then you can usually get free listings on the panel's websites. So they put you as a provider, and a lot of times it'll also let you specify a niche
Yeah.
on there. So it's like if you specialize in grief and PTSD or something, you can have that on there, and then clients can go look on their insurance website. They can find you that way. So that's a free way to get listed,
Cool.
unlike like Psychology Today or something like that.
Right. Yeah, we have
So,
to pay.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's a benefit. The insurance companies, like I just said, they're aware of your niche. So they will refer to you. So, like just today, I got an email from Magellan that said, hey, we've got somebody struggling with PTSD and substance abuse. And they sent that referral to me. So,
Hmm.
if I wasn't already full, I probably would have jumped right on that. But right now, I'm, not trying to take too many new people.
Yeah.
So that happens. I probably get 3 or 4 emails like that a week from the
Wow.
insurance companies. Yeah, so it's a good referral source for me.
Yeah.
So I already talked about this, but once your systems are in place, the billing is simple. Like it only takes a few minutes
Mhm.
once you get it going. And then the payment schedules, they're fast, they're predictable. So like, gosh, if I submit this Cigna claim today, I'll be paid within like 5 days, five
Oh,
business days. So you can expect it
right.
pretty regularly. The other benefit is that clients tend to come longer due to
Mm.
lower copays.
Mhm.
So, I find that a private pay, they might maybe once a month or every other week come,
Mhm.
where somebody with a low copay, they could come 3 times a week if they wanted to.
Right.
The insurance companies allow unlimited sessions usually. So that's positive.
That is positive.
Yeah. And then due to longer therapy times, I'm able to see the clients grow and heal over time. I think that's positive.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're able to a lot of times it sounds like they stay engaged in therapy longer because it's a lower cost out of pocket for them. So that's a helpful thing. And I don't get into the weeds of understanding how the diagnosis codes and there's a lot of I see people asking in groups about what about this code for this? How do you guys code it? And I'm just like, oh, I don't know what that means. But do you cover that in your training as well?
I
Or-
do.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely. Because there's one insurance company that you have to be really careful with billing 90837s.
Hmm.
This like the 53-minute session, because they only want to pay for the shorter sessions. So the client you're billing for has to meet a certain criteria like PTSD or major depressive disorder, and you have to be using like certain evidence-based treatments to
Wow.
bill that code.
Hmm.
So I do talk about all that in the course, but like EMDR,
Mm,
DBT, that sort of thing. So you have to document that you're using those techniques in your sessions with them.
I
But
gotcha.
that's just one insurance companies. Most of them have no problem with it.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. There's even differentiations between insurance companies, like what they will accept and what they want. That's just fascinating to me. I mean, it really is. You are an expert. I know you said you don't feel like you're an expert, but you really are. You know much more about this than me, of course, and it just takes a little bit more knowledge to be deemed an expert. So, I mean, if I
Okay.
was looking for a health insurance course, I would definitely be in yours and soaking everything in. So this has
Thank
been
you.
really cool to learn about the course. Do you foresee other courses in your future, or do you have anything else you're working on?
I don't know. I do have another like totally different side hustle.
Mm.
I sell hypnosis MP3s and apps on iTunes and Google.
Oh, wow.
But I've been doing that for about 10 years now. So I'm always working on that as well.
Is that something that you create yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh.
I'm a
What
hypnotherapist too. So
like, I didn't know that. What's the name of your app? Tell us about your app.
Sleep Soundly by Hypnotransformations.
Very cool. Is
Yeah.
that a paid for app?
It's free. The sleep part is
Uh,
free. And then there's like in-app purchases that you can buy. I think I've got over 50 titles in there.
Kim, you didn't tell me about that before.
I know. I
That's
forgot. I
super
forget about
cool.
that.
Well, now that we know about your app, how in the world did you decide to develop an app?
I don't know. These ideas just come to me. I
Uh-huh.
have like thousands of ideas in my head. I just don't have enough time to do it.
Uh-huh.
So the app, I don't know. People were asking me to do sessions like crazy. So I started recording them because I was like, okay, a generalized sleep session would help everybody. So I was recording them and I was just giving them to my clients. And then I was like, I wonder how hard it is to like make an app. So I outsourced and I found these guys over in India really that made my apps for me. Then, it evolved into the in-app purchases. And every time I recorded a new one, I would just throw it on the app.
Awesome.
So,
That's awesome. Oh my
well, thank
gosh.
you.
So wait,
Yeah.
tell us the name of your app again because I want to go get it. Let me write it down.
Okay.
It's
It's
called
Sleep Soundly.
Sleep Soundly. Okay. And then
Yeah.
so you can download it for free and there's free on there. But then if you
Yeah.
want to purchase, then you can purchase. Very
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
mean, that is something else. If
Thank you.
I created an app too. Did I tell you?
No.
Yes, my app is completely different than anything to do with therapy, but
Oh, wow.
it's called Your Brand Builder, and it helps folks work on their personal branding for getting more visible on social media.
Wow.
And it's kind of a similar story. Like I was learning about personal branding and how to be more visible, and people started to notice, and people were reaching out and asking me about it, and I remember just saying the same things over and over again. Like had like it all typed out in my notes on my phone, and I would just copy and paste it and send it over. And my husband was like, "You are spending so much time giving away this stuff for free." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I want to help people. I know what it's like to struggle and not know, what types of posts to make or how to get engagement." And I remember thinking, "I wish there was an app for this." And
Yeah.
there wasn't. And I was like, "I'm going to make it." And then the whole process of going through creating an app was really cool. I kind of want to update it. I think I'm going to update it and do some more stuff with it. I just have to like you. I have all these ideas and
Yeah.
it keeps me up at night. But then I wake up and I'm like, got to go through the motions of being a mom and a therapist. And oh yeah, I'll get to my app. I'll get to that. But I really like
Exactly.
your app. That is such a cool idea.
Cool.
And the
Thank
cool thing about
you.
apps is that they solve problems for people or they shorten the learning curve for people. So I'm all about developing apps and I think that's really cool. So your app developer is in India.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
I've
cool.
had like 4 different app developers over the
Yeah.
years. I've had these apps out for about 10 years now.
Wow.
So right now, the one on Google is not functioning, and I've got a guy working on it because it just broke about 2 weeks ago, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's like a major stressor. But
Yeah.
hopefully, it's going to be fixed soon. It works and then plays it for about 3 minutes, and then it stops. So I'm
Huh.
like, oh my gosh, something to
Yeah.
do with their updates recently. So
Yeah, you gotta stay on top of the updates and or like your app disappears and you're like, wait a minute, where'd my app go? And I'm so glad that I'm just learning so much about you. This is such a great
oh yeah,
conversation. I really
thank
appreciate
you.
you coming on. Is there anything else that you want to share?
I do have a free Facebook group for telehealth insurance billing. If anybody wants to join it, it's really helpful. So it's just a lot of people in there just becoming online therapists and learning how to bill insurance.
Mhm.
So it's a great community. We're all just helping people,
Okay.
learn
Yeah.
how to do it. So you don't have to buy the course to learn how to do this.
What's the name of your group?
Insurance billing for telehealth practitioners, I think is what it's called.
Very cool. Okay, well, make a note of all the things to link in the show notes for Kim.
Oh,
This has been
thank
really
you.
great. So come join her group, get some great value, and we'll share the pros and cons of health insurance for sure. And then you have a website, and then you have your course, and now you have an app, and you're a digital nomad.
Yeah.
So
In
this
2
is
weeks, I will be.
yeah, you will. It's really cool to know and to know you and to see you like living out your dream. I just
Aw,
think that's so inspiring. So thank you so much for being here.
thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine. Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover more fantastic content. And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.